the stillness of a winter night, a life full of promise was violently silenced. Lana Dawson, a young mother, aspiring rapper, and beloved presence in her community, was found shot and left in the depths of Mt Airy Forest. Her death shattered a family and unsettled a city, raising haunting questions about trust, betrayal, and unanswered moments. This is the story of who Lana was, what happened that night, and the painful silence that followed. The night of the discovery. Just after midnight on December 7, 2024, the stillness of Cincinnati's Mt Airy Forest was broken by an emergency call. A person had been found unresponsive along Trail Ridge Road, a quiet stretch deep within the park. Responding officers and fire department personnel arrived quickly, navigating darkness, cold air, and uneven terrain. What they encountered confirmed the worst. A young woman lay motionless. She had suffered a fatal gunshot wound and was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim was identified as 20-year-old Lana Dawson. From the outset, authorities knew this was not an accident or a medical emergency. The nature of her injuries immediately classified the case as a homicide. The forest, normally a place for daytime hikers and families, transformed into a secured crime scene, illuminated by flashing emergency lights. For Lana's family, the phone call that followed shattered reality. One moment life was normal. The next, they were confronted with an irreversible loss. There was no preparation, no warning, no chance to say goodbye. Time seemed to stop as disbelief turned into devastation. The discovery marked the beginning of a painful mystery. Why was Lana in the forest at that hour? Who was with her? And how did a young mother with her entire life ahead of her end up alone and lifeless in one of the city's most secluded locations? Those questions would soon haunt not only her family but an entire community. A secluded and calculated crime scene. Mt Airy Forest is one of Cincinnati's largest green spaces, spanning hundreds of acres of dense woodland. The specific area where Lana Dawson was found is notably closed to vehicle traffic. Access requires walking, often through poorly lit paths, particularly at night. This detail immediately shaped investigators' understanding of the crime. This was not a random roadside shooting. The location suggested intent. Someone chose a place where discovery would be delayed and witnesses unlikely. Sound travels differently in the forest, absorbed by trees and distance. At night, the isolation becomes even more pronounced. Investigators recognized that whoever committed this act likely understood the environment well. The question of how Lana arrived there became central. Did she walk into the forest willingly, believing she was safe? Was she accompanied by someone she trusted? Or was she forced into a situation where escape was impossible? Each possibility points toward a deeply disturbing scenario. The lack of vehicle access ruled out certain possibilities while raising others. It suggested effort. It suggested planning. It suggested that this was not an impulsive act, but one carried out with awareness of surroundings and consequences. Crime scenes in natural environments are notoriously difficult. Evidence degrades quickly. Foot traffic can disturb key details. Time works against investigators. The forest, in this case, did not just hide the crime. It complicated every step toward justice. No warning signs before death. One of the most troubling aspects of Lana Dawson's case lies in the hours before her death. According to her family, Lana had been texting her mother, Nisha Dawson, earlier that night. The messages were normal. There was no panic, no urgency, no sign that anything was wrong. For investigators and loved ones alike, this detail raised profound questions. Lana was known as someone who would reach out if she needed help. She had a strong support system. If she felt threatened, her family believes she would have called immediately. Yet there was silence. No distress call, no final warning, no indication that she was in danger. This suggests that whatever happened unfolded quickly, or involved someone she trusted enough not to fear until it was too late. The sudden shift from ordinary communication to fatal violence remains one of the case's greatest mysteries. This contradiction has haunted her family. How does a young woman go from casual conversation to death without a single moment to ask for help? Was there deception involved? Was she caught completely off guard? For law enforcement, the absence of warning signs complicates timelines and theories. For her family, it deepens the pain. The unanswered questions create a lingering sense that the truth is just out of reach, hidden in the moments between those final texts and the discovery in the forest. Who was Lana Dawson? Lana Dawson was more than a victim of a violent crime. She was a young woman with a personality that left a lasting impression on those around her. Family members described her as outgoing, funny, and full of life. She was the kind of person who brought energy into any room she entered. Born in 2004, Lana grew up surrounded by family and strong relationships. Her mother, Naisha, often referred to her as everybody's baby, reflecting how deeply loved and protected she was within her community. She was known for being dependable, someone friends could call at any hour. Lana also had creative ambitions. She was an amateur rapper, using music as a form of self-expression. While not widely famous, her passion for music reflected a desire to tell her story and be heard. It added another layer to who she was beyond her roles as daughter and friend. But above all, Lana was a mother. At just 20 years old, she was raising a 1-year-old daughter. That responsibility shaped her priorities and decisions. Her family says her child was her world. Every plan, every hope, every dream revolved around building a future for her daughter. A mother's unimaginable loss. The most devastating consequence of Lana Dawson's death is the child she left behind. Her 1-year-old daughter is now growing up without her mother's presence, guidance, or protection. Family members have shared that the child has called out for her mother since her passing, unaware that those calls will never be answered. This loss is ongoing, not momentary. It unfolds in milestones Lana will never witness and moments she will never share. Birthdays, first days of school, and everyday routines now carry an absence that cannot be filled. For Lana's family, this reality fuels their demand for justice. They are not only grieving a daughter, niece, and granddaughter, but also fighting for the future of a child who will one day ask difficult questions. Why did this happen? Who is responsible? Why was her mother taken? Lana embraced motherhood fully. Despite her young age, she was deeply committed to raising her child with love and care. Her death did not only end her life, it disrupted an entire future. The emotional weight of that loss extends beyond the family. It stands as a reminder of the far-reaching consequences of violent crime, where the youngest victims often suffer the longest. Family testimonies and grief. Lana Dawson's family has spoken publicly about their grief, each voice reflecting a different aspect of the same heartbreak. Her grandmother described Lana as a beautiful soul who kept everyone laughing, even during difficult times. Her presence was comforting, familiar, and deeply missed. Her mother, Naisha Dawson, has shared the raw pain of losing her child. She recalls the ordinary text messages exchanged before Lana's death as the unbearable shock that followed. For her, the memory of receiving the news is something that will never fade. Lana's aunt has spoken about responsibility. She emphasized that justice is not optional, especially for Lana's daughter. One day, that child will grow old enough to ask questions, and the family believes she deserves answers, not silence. Grief, in this case, is complicated by uncertainty. Without an arrest or clear explanation, the family remains suspended in pain. There is no closure, only waiting. Each day without answers reopens wounds that never fully heal. Their testimonies are not just expressions of sorrow. They are calls for accountability. They reflect a family determined to keep Lana's name alive until the truth is finally revealed. An ongoing, unsolved investigation. Despite the gravity of the crime, the murder of Lana Dawson remains unresolved. Months after her death, no arrests have been made, no suspects have been publicly named, and no official motive has been disclosed. This absence of answers has left both investigators and Lana's family in a prolonged state of uncertainty, searching for clarity in a case defined by silence. The challenges facing law enforcement are substantial. Crimes that occur in secluded outdoor locations, such as Mt Airy Forest, present inherent difficulties. Natural elements can quickly degrade physical evidence, and uneven terrain can obscure or destroy potential clues. The area's isolation significantly reduces the likelihood of witnesses, limiting the ability to reconstruct events with certainty. Detectives continue to work the case, following up on tips, reviewing available evidence, and attempting to retrace Lana's final movements before her death. Each lead is carefully examined, but time remains a critical obstacle. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, memories become less precise, and potential information risks being lost altogether. For Lana's loved ones, the slow pace of progress is deeply painful. The lack of resolution prevents any sense of closure, forcing them to live with unanswered questions and unresolved grief. Yet, despite the frustration and emotional toll, the family has not lost hope. They firmly believe that someone, somewhere, has information that could bring the truth to light. An unsolved case is not the same as a forgotten one. Lana Dawson's name remains active within police records and in the public consciousness. The investigation continues, driven by persistence, determination, and the belief that justice is still possible. Public appeals for justice. With few concrete leads to pursue, investigators in Lana Dawson's case have turned to the public as a critical source of information. Cincinnati police have repeatedly urged anyone who may know something, no matter how insignificant it may seem, to contact the homicide unit or submit tips through Crime Stoppers. Investigators emphasize that cases like this are often solved not by one major revelation, but by small details that help establish timelines, movements, or connections. Lana's family has reinforced these appeals with deeply personal pleas. They have spoken publicly, addressing the community directly, and asking anyone with knowledge of Lana's final hours to come forward. Their messages are not accusatory but urgent, grounded in the belief that someone holds information that could finally bring clarity. They believe that silence, whether driven by fear or uncertainty, only prolongs their suffering. To honor Lana and keep attention on her case, vigils have been held by family, friends, and community members. Candles spelling her initials have been lit, prayers offered, and balloons released into the night sky. These moments serve as both remembrance and protest, symbols of love, loss, and the refusal to let her death fade into obscurity. The family often asks the public to consider a painful question. If this were your daughter, your sister, or your friend, would you remain silent? Or would you hope someone else would step forward? History shows that community cooperation plays a decisive role in solving violent crimes. In Lana's case, her family believes justice rests on someone choosing to speak. The burden of silence. Silence is one of the most devastating consequences of an unsolved homicide. It settles into everyday life, filling the spaces where answers should exist. For Lana Dawson's family, that silence has become constant, present in empty rooms, interrupted routines, and nights spent replaying unanswered questions. Each day without clarity reinforces the painful reality that the truth remains out of reach. Without resolution, grief does not move forward, it stays suspended. There is no closing chapter, no confirmation of what truly happened, and no accountability to mark an end to the suffering. Instead, every morning begins with the same uncertainty that followed the first devastating phone call. The absence of answers prevents healing and forces the family to live indefinitely within the moment of loss. The impact of this silence extends beyond Lana's loved ones. Unsolved crimes leave entire communities unsettled. They raise concerns about safety and erode trust in the idea that justice is inevitable. When a young woman can be killed in a secluded public space without consequence, it leaves residents questioning how such violence could occur unnoticed and unresolved. For Lana's daughter, the silence will eventually take on a different form. As she grows older, unanswered questions will become part of her identity. She will seek to understand who her mother was, how she died, and why no one has yet been held responsible. That absence of truth becomes a lasting emotional burden. This weight does not diminish with time. It grows heavier. Breaking the silence is essential not only for justice, but for healing, remembrance, and peace for both the family and the community. Justice for the future. Justice for Lana Dawson is not defined solely by an arrest or a conviction. For her family, justice means truth. Clear, undeniable answers about what happened in Mt Airy Forest on the night her life ended. It means accountability for the person or people responsible, and recognition that Lana's life had meaning far beyond the circumstances of her death. Since December 7th, 2024, Lana's family has lived in a state of painful waiting. Each day without answers deepens the wound left behind. They believe firmly that the truth exists, that somewhere there is a person who knows what happened, whether through direct involvement, a conversation overheard, or information that has yet to be shared. Their hope is sustained not by certainty, but by the belief that silence cannot last forever. For Lana's daughter, justice carries an even deeper significance. As she grows, she will learn who her mother was, not just how she died, but how she lived. Justice means being able to tell her that her mother was loved, that her life mattered, and that her community did not forget her. It means ensuring that Lana's name is not reduced to a statistic, but remembered as a young woman with dreams, creativity, and devotion to her child. Until the truth is brought to light, Lana Dawson's story remains unfinished. She was a beloved rapper, a devoted mother, and a daughter taken too soon. Her memory continues to live through those who loved her, and the search for justice continues with unwavering resolve.